Hey there, it's Latina, your future focused project manager, coming back to you again this week with a topic of discussion. So this week's topic is about office drama, office gossip, all of that. And it's from my book, Respectfully Unbothered. It's the book that helps you to deal with difficult coworkers, set boundaries, and stay sane. And this particular topic about office detox, I was looking over my notes because when I knew that I was going to be doing the series, I had already put together some notes on what I thought I was going to talk about for each chapter. I was really proactive early on so that I can just sit down with my notes every week and just, tweak what it is I wanted to talk about and go from there. Well, I've thrown all of my notes out that I previously put together for this topic because as I was reviewing the book again, I noticed there was an anecdote in here that I wanted to talk about specifically. So at the beginning of each chapter of the book, I do have a real life scenario that happened to me related to the topic. And I thought it was best to share that in this particular instance and then give you some points around it. So let's talk. So before I do that, let me just say you probably see the QR code and you probably see the whatever point they are, the QR code and the cover of the book. If you are so inclined, my book is available on Amazon.com and Lulu.com. Scan the QR code, it will take you out to my website. You can read more about the book and what it's all about and purchase it for yourself. It is a workbook, so it helps you to not only gives you points to read, but it actually gives you things to do to set the stage for how you're going to move forward in this work environment, respectfully unbothered. Okay. With that said, let's talk. So this particular scenario happened early in my career. This particular position that I was applying for was the catalyst for me being a trainer. And it helped me to really understand how much I really enjoyed training and development, which then led me into project management, which is a form of training and development, just in a different bend or different twist. But this was at a bank and I was moving up the ranks and it was in a call center. Those of you that know me will know what I'm talking about, but that's okay. It's fine. The position I was applying for was a trainer. It was training the new hires as they were coming in to be ready to go out onto the floor in the call center. Okay. So I was so excited to get the tap for the interview. But what I did was I made a very specific request. I requested two things. I requested that the interview not be on a Friday, and I wanted it to be later in the day. Why did I ask that? Well, I didn't want it to be on a Friday because Friday was casual Friday, and everybody, wears their jeans and is real casual. I did not want to have to either show up in business professional attire or change into business professional attire because it would be too obvious. And then later in the day, because I wanted to have my interview, later in, I wanted to, slip away, zhuzh up my outfit because we were business casual, I think, there. So I needed to, put on my professional clothes, go to the interview, nail that, and then head out. And not have to have a whole lot of people see me. If you know anything about call center environments, and actually any work environment has this bend to it, but this particular one, there was just a lot of talk, a lot of people just cross talking about everybody. Everybody knew everybody's business. If you told them your business, they would know your business. But I've always been I keep a lot of things close to the vest. I keep a lot of things in, not from I'm very social, very sociable, very personable, but I don't tell them my business. And that's on purpose. In this particular thing, I knew that there were others that were going to be interviewing. So because I knew that, I really just wanted to stay under the radar. Because this position was important to me. It was something I really wanted to move into. I really enjoyed it. So there's that. So I was able to do all those things. They honored my wishes. They let me, I forget what day it was. It was not a Friday. And it was later in the day. And I made arrangements with my manager. I said, hey, I'm going to do this interview and I'm going to go. Right. I think I may have took some PTO or what have you, or, they just let me go. Fast forward about a week or so later, I'm in the bathroom. Somebody actually comes to me in the bathroom and they say, "Hey, I heard about and it was somebody that I knew had applied. I had a little bit of intel of who had applied for the position. I didn't know everybody, but I knew some. I knew she was one. She asked me, I forget, how did she say it? And I hold on, let me look, because I actually put, when I was writing the book, I had to recall the story. So let me look really quick. Oh, well, she just asked me, did I interview? Yeah, she just, did you interview? I mean, because in the call center environment, everybody knows everything, again, unless you tell when you tell them. So at that moment, I just was like, oh, you got an interview? Oh, okay. I have no idea who else was being interviewed. And then since this was in the bathroom, I had all the reason to get up out of there, because it's a bathroom. It's I didn't need to be there longer than what I needed to be. I think I was washing my hands at the time, and we were just chatting, and I think we chatted back and forth. But I completely avoided her question on purpose, because no, you don't get to know that. You don't get to. She was, I mean, satisfied enough with my answer. Plus, I was moving, I was doing things, and it's a call center, so I had to inevitably get back to the phone. So I was able to find it out, because my goal was really to stay under the radar. Long story short, I did get the position, and it was very pivotal in my career going forward, because training is so what I love to do. And being a project manager is like, it's adjacent to that to me. So I love project management. I love training. Got the job. All is well. So, couple of points I want to bring up with that particular scenario, because that does give you the space and the positioning to be caught up in some office drama that you don't necessarily want to be caught up in. Couple of points that may be of use to you as you move forward. Just because, oh wait, let me hold on a second. I had some points and I lost one of them. So give me a second. I would pause this and redo it, but I'm not, because that story, the way I told it, was great. So we're going to keep it. So let me go ahead and grab the first point. There it is. Everyone is not entitled to your information. That was the point it was taking me to the second point, because I'd never put my first point in my notes. Everyone's not entitled to your information. The whole oversharing thing, stop. You don't, just because somebody asks you something doesn't mean you have to give them an answer, particularly when it's about your business personally. And particularly when you're trying to thwart or not be in the fray of all the drama. Okay. You can divert the question. You can just put yourself in a space to anticipate if you start to hear those kinds of things. Just keep it moving, keep it pushing. Because just because somebody asks them doesn't mean you need to answer, really. And I think in work environments, some people will just ask you straight up, is this happening? Is that happening? Now, don't put yourself in the space to be questioned. Like, if you're out here doing things that will cause people to question you, that's a whole nother thing. But you don't, every question is not require a response, particularly if it's outside of the scope of the work. You're not in a meeting where you're having to share information back and forth. That's different. I'm talking about when it's about you and about maybe your career. In this scenario, it was about my career. Did you interview? Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm not gonna tell you that, because I don't want you to know that. You'll find out, if and when I get the job. Okay, then you'll know. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Point number two. Gossip thrives on confirmation, not necessarily full facts, right? So if I had confirmed that, oh yeah, I interviewed, that would have been a whole other thing for her to go off and talk about and say, oh, I know that got an interview, this person interviewed. I didn't want to be in that list. So, and in situations where you're in office drama situations, it's best to just excuse yourself so that you don't have to confirm anything. Don't even listen, because then that gives you plausible deniability. Like if you didn't hear it, then nobody else can ask you what you heard, and then you don't have to figure out what to say or not say. It does need office drama, and the whole office gossip needs participation for it to work. Don't participate. Just don't. Don't add any fuel. You know, you don't have to explain it. You don't have to, you don't have to confirm anything. You can stay truthful because you were not involved. All right. And point number 3, neutral responses are a power move. A power move. I didn't know it at the time, but I'm calling it a power move in hindsight, right? But it was a power move for me to listen to what she said. Like, did you interview? And I knew that I did not want that information out there. For me to say, oh, you got an interview? Oh, that's great. I have no idea who else was being interviewed. I do remember saying that. Because I diverted the question. Now, in me diverting it, she might have figured out that I probably got interviewed, but that's not the point. The point was I wasn't trying to confirm it, so that she can go say that, that she heard it from me. She can say that she thinks, but but neutral responses are a power move. Your response can be calm. It doesn't have to match their energy. Like if they're coming at you with all this energy, like, oh my God, did you hear? You do not have to come back like that. You can say, oh no, I didn't hear about that. Okay, great. Well, you know what? I gotta go over here. I gotta go finish my lunch. I gotta go breathe over in this area over here. Okay. And you not being involved like that, they're not gonna match it. They're not gonna match it back. Once you come back at them differently than the way they came at you, that likely will diffuse the situation. Okay. And I was I was in, like I said, this scenario, I was in the bathroom. So I had all the outs to get out. I didn't have to sit in there or not sit. We were washing our hands. I didn't have to stand there and have the conversation. I had an out. I had to be somewhere, and I did, which was just not in the bathroom. Okay. All right. This is a short one, and this is a short one on purpose because I really wanted to just share. We've all been in this situation, I think, where, you're in the office drama, the office gossip, and it is super tempting. I am curious by nature. I like to know things. But at the same time, I need to, watch the company that I keep and the spaces that I'm in, because you could be, guilty by association, by being involved in those types of scenarios. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you gained some nuggets out of it, out of my personal story. And I hope that you engage me in the comments. Let me know, how do you handle office drama and office gossip? Are you in it? Do you love it? I mean, do you have maybe you have an ally at work where you all get together and say, listen, did you hear? Maybe. I mean, I'm not judging it. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying you don't want it to be in a situation where that office drama leads to something that you don't want. For me, in that particular scenario, it was leading to my name being in conversations that I didn't want them to be in, because I just didn't want people talking about me around other managers and things like that, because I was in a position to move forward, and I was in a position to go from point A to point B into a different position that was going to actually help me to grow, and it did. All right. With that said, have a great rest of your week. Check out my posts with regards to office drama and detox. Engage with me, and I will see you on these internet streets.